This video, I wanted to share my experience in Las Vegas with some of the best dating coaches in the world. I wanted to share with you the characteristics of an extremely attractive guy. So these coaches, these dating coaches, they've been working on themselves for many years to become extremely attractive. And what I noticed when I was in Las Vegas is they had these certain characteristics. And this is what I wanted to share with you in this video. Characteristics number one, they talk to everyone, but not just the girl they're attracted to. And that means talking to the taxi driver, talking to the barman, talking to the waiter. What I actually noticed is because in Las Vegas, we had to get the taxi from our villa to the strip. And every time we go into the taxi, I was actually, super tired. I was having a nap most of the time. But what I noticed, the coaches, they would speak to the taxi driver because actually the taxi driver knows everything about the city, right? Because they're always going around. So what they did is they got the logistics from Las Vegas, right? Obviously, you can search it online, but when you talk to the taxi driver, he can tell you the most precise locations, like for example, where the best bars are, right? Because they talk to everyone, so they have a lot of knowledge. And in addition to that, now you're actually warming up. At the end of the taxi trip, there could be the most beautiful girl you've ever seen. So now you get into a talkative state, because think about it. When you want to attract a girl into your life, you have to talk, right? It's conversation that gets the girl attracted to you. So being able to talk is extremely important. And let's say if you just woke up in the morning, you're probably not going to be in that social headspace. So by talking to the taxi driver, or let's say, okay, if you don't get a taxi, let's say you get the bus or the train or whatever, right? You can talk to the person next to you, right? And actually what a lot of people don't know is having conversations in public transport, right, is good for the other person too, because humans, we are social creatures. And obviously nowadays everyone's on the phone and they're antisocial. But when you strike up a conversation, you notice how people actually love to have conversations and get out of the phone. Characteristics number two, fun is the center of everything they do. So obviously we were in Las Vegas, so this is it's a unique place in the world, and everyone is there to enjoy themselves and have fun. But what I noticed with these guys was everything they were doing was just to enjoy themselves. They didn't have an outcome in mind, whether it was talking to the most beautiful girl in the bar, in the coffee shop, or talking to one of their friends, right? They just wanted to enjoy themselves and have fun, because what happens is when you have fun, you draw people into you. Other people around you are gonna want to hang around with you, right? And this is extremely important when you're talking to a girl, obviously, because think about it, when you talk to a girl that you're attracted to, no one can really have fun in that situation because people are usually nervous. So when you have fun, what happens is she's going to have a unique experience, especially if she's very attractive. Like, I'll give you an example. Right now I'm actually in Budapest. I know I'm doing a video about Las Vegas, but I didn't have a chance to do it there because we were coaching almost every day. So in Budapest, I went on a date with a model, and she was very attractive. She's probably not used to guys going around and joking around with her. And what I did is I approached in Zara, and the approach was I went next to her, and there was an earring, and I got the earring and I said, excuse me, does this suit me? Right? And obviously she knew that was a joke, and she laughed, and we had an amazing interaction. I ended up going on a date with her. So this is my point here. Whatever you're gonna do, center around having fun. Obviously work is work, and you want to be serious. You don't want to be that guy at work who's just joking around, because that's not good for your career. But when you're out in your social life, that's when you just want to enjoy yourself and have fun, and don't have an outcome in mind, right? When you're talking to a beautiful girl, don't think like, oh, I really want to take her to a date, or I really want her to be my girlfriend. But no, your goal should be, oh, I just want to enjoy myself and have fun. Obviously you should follow a certain structure that leads you to her being on a date with you. I'm not saying just talk bullshit and just walk away after and be like, okay, this is it. Now I've just said have fun and nothing more. So yeah, and if you want to learn how to do that, then what I suggest is subscribe to my channel, because I have all the videos you need about structure and building attraction and all that stuff, and how to take it to the next step. The other point I was going to mention for the same characteristics is when you talk to people, for example, in a bar or in a restaurant or in a coffee shop, what happens is they start to like you, right? For example, the waiter, the barman, or the barista. And a lot of times this happened to me, they give you free stuff, right? And the more importantly, what happens is, if you, like, let's say if you go on a date and you've talked to the waiter in that restaurant, now if you take a girl to that restaurant, the guy's going to treat you really well because he knows you, right? And now this is what you call social proof. And girls, they're very in tune to this stuff. They're going to be thinking, oh, this guy obviously, he's very popular in this venue, and now this is going to bring up the attraction. Characteristics number 3, the ability to talk non-stop, the ability to rant. What I noticed about these dating coaches was that they can talk without getting anything in return. In Vegas, we had seminars before the boot camps, and each coach had a speech for about 10 minutes to an hour. And what I noticed is, these guys, they could just talk and talk and talk. Obviously, this is their job. However, when it comes to women, you should be able to talk non-stop for about 2 to 3 minutes. This is very important because this is usually how long it takes for you to kind of demonstrate your personality to the girl. And I always give exercises to my clients where I say, okay, you have to talk about this topic for 2 minutes non-stop. If you're completely new to this, then you just have to talk about this topic for like 30 seconds, and then slowly you increase it, because you might think, okay, you might be watching this video and thinking, okay, this is very easy and I can talk and talk, but try it. It's actually extremely hard, especially when you have nothing coming in return. Like if you talk to a wall and you have to speak at a wall, it's very difficult to do that. And sometimes when you talk to an attractive girl in the beginning, she might not give you a lot, right? Obviously, this is not, every single situation. Most girls, they will say something, right? But every now and then, there will be situations where the girl doesn't give you anything. So this is a really good practice for you, just to practice your ability to actually speak without having anything in return. Because, as I mentioned in the beginning, what happens is you've approached her, she doesn't know you, so you can't ask questions, right? Because this is what actually, it's a typical mistake, I've had before, my clients have had. And if you listen to actually average conversation in a bar, this is usually how it goes. It goes, oh, excuse me, where are you from? How old are you? What's your name? Right? But if you do what we call statements and storytelling and that stuff, where you have to do the work, then what you're doing essentially is you're demonstrating your personality. So what I did is actually, I do seminars every month in London, and we did this as an exercise. And there were some guys there that didn't know each other. We did this exercise where I gave them a topic, and these guys, they had to talk in twos, so they had a partner. And after the exercise, I asked the guys, I said, okay, do you guys know each other better now? Do you feel like you actually trust each other more? And they said, yeah, even though they weren't allowed to like ask each other any questions or anything, but they were just talking about this topic to each other. And they said, yeah, actually now we feel like we know each other better. Because what you do essentially is you demonstrate your personality when you talk. And this is why this skill set is extremely important when it comes to attracting women. Characteristics number 4, the ability to deal with other alpha guys. So obviously these dating coaches, they were all high value and alpha. And what happens is when you have a lot of them in one spot, there's a lot of friction that goes on because we were all living in the same house. And what I notice is when one guy has an argument with another, or something arises and there's a fight or something, and this actually happened with me and another dating coach, was that you deal with it, right? And then you shake hands and you forget about it, right? There's no point holding grudges or walking away or anything like that. You say, oh, I'm not gonna be this guy's friend anymore. What you've got to do is just tell them exactly if they've crossed the line or whatever, or if maybe you crossed the line and you apologize and get along with it, right? This happens in sport a lot. Like I used to play football, and in football, maybe someone makes a bad tackle or something, and then you shake hands and you forget about it. So my point here is, if an argument arises or you get into a fight or anything, with one of your friends, one of your guys, make sure you hold your ground and tell them, okay, I didn't like this about what happened in this situation, but then shake hand and make up with it and move on. And what this relates to is, for example, when you get rejected or something from a girl, don't take it seriously. Obviously don't shake your hand, but well, listen, thank you, goodbye. But it's, don't hold any grudges, because in that situation, actually, they don't even know who you are. The reason they're rejecting you is because of your approach. So your approach was probably not the best, but that's for another video. And I'll actually make a video about that, how to deal with rejections. All right, now let's move into characteristics number 5. no one brags about their successes, right? But yeah, people say stories, people talk about, you know, these guys, they were traveling a lot, they were traveling in the world. So every now and then they'll be like, yeah, I was in this place, you know, I was in whatever, in Prague, and you can't believe what happened to me. But it's not in a way like, oh, I'm bragging, because bragging is no one actually enjoys when someone else is just bragging all the time, right? You know, you probably had a friend or you knew someone that they're always like, you know, trying to impress you. We actually have one guy in London, and every time we meet him, he just goes straight into like showing off, like, oh bro, this is what happened, you know, I got laid and this happened and this happened. And every time you meet him, it's like the same thing. And it's just like, you know, it's boring. It's the guy, you can tell he's obviously showing off. And actually, high value people, they don't need to show off. If you you know, if you ever met someone that's extremely successful, they never show off, right? And you can just tell, okay, this guy's successful and attractive. He doesn't need to verbally say it. He's not like, oh bro, you know, I just drove here in whatever, my Lamborghini, and, you know, with my 5 girlfriends in the back. You know, this is not what an attractive guy looks like, but it's more in the behavior, right? You behave like a high value attractive guy, but you don't verbally say it. And this is the same with women, right? When you're with a girl, actually the opposite is really good when you're with women. Like, for example, if they say, oh, like, where do you live? You're like, oh, I'm actually homeless, you know, I don't have a home. And this way is actually more funny. And when you do stuff like that, the girl is thinking, okay, this guy has to be, you know, a high value guy. Why else would he say he's a homeless, or, you know, like he works in McDonald's or whatever? So yeah, that's it for this video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we've got life-changing content like this one coming your way. And also, I have an inner circle group that you can join. We have a video call each Wednesday, 9 p.m. London time. And in this video call, you get a chance to ask me any questions you want, and you get to meet cool, like-minded, highly attractive and high-value people. Yeah, so to do that, click the link below, and that will take you to a form where you fill out and you join the group. All right, I'll catch you in the next video. Nav.